Have you had a chance to experience celebrity cruises? Today, we're diving into the exciting world of premium cruising with, in my opinion, one of the industry's leading innovators, Celebrity Cruises. Joining me today to explore Celebrity Cruises is my very special guest, Allan Brooks, Director of Sales for Canada at Celebrity Cruises. If you enjoy the journey with us today, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. And if this video has got you inspired, give it a thumbs up or drop a comment and join the conversation. It really helps other folks just like you to find our content. And now, on with the show. Hi, Allan. Welcome to RTE-Travel Talk.
Hi, thanks for having me, Ken.
It's great to have you with us, Allan. I'm looking forward to spending a little time with you today. We can discuss Celebrity Cruises. You can give us kind of like an overview of what's going on for 2025 and 2026 and like maybe a 30,000 foot level look at the actual cruise line itself. How does that sound?
Awesome.
Perfect. So where do we start, Allan?
I'll give you a little bit of my background. I'm kind of proud of it because I'm so proud of this brand and this company. I've been with them for 25 years. So born and raised in Montreal and moved out to Vancouver for different work. And then I ended up working on board the ships for almost 13 years in the entertainment division. And then went to Miami and worked in our headquarters for a while, and then got into sales in the U.S. And then the opportunity came up for me to move back to Canada and take over the national director role. It's been an amazing journey. I kind of have a 360-degree sort of view or experience of this industry now, having been the product, supported the product, and now selling. So yeah, it's been amazing. So Celebrity Cruises, used to be Chandris for those, the cruise sort of historians that are watching. Celebrity Cruises took it over in 1988 and became part of the Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited, which we now know as the Royal Caribbean Group, which includes obviously Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Silver Sea. So basically now with Celebrity Cruises, we are 15 ships. We've got our Millennium series, which comprises of 4, and then our Solstice series, 5 of them, and then the Edge series, which is our newest class.
I've sailed on the Millennium class and the Solstice class, but I haven't had an opportunity to sail on the Edge. But we've spoken to lots of people and done numerous interviews with folks that have been on the Edge series, and it's an amazing series of ships.
Yeah, the design alone, it's very outward-facing ship. So the idea is that we bring you to the destination, but the destination comes to you on board because there's so much glass on the ships. Because of the hull design and the structure of the ship, we're able to have 30, 40 feet of glass. So the pool deck is one of the areas, the resort deck we call it, is really open and immersive. And the other part of those ships is just the flow of the ship. I mean, it's just the beautiful design, a beautiful flow. It just feels very natural as you're exploring the ship, and there's always like this smaller little nooks and crannies to, cuddle up and read a book or watch a sunset or a sail in or a sail out. And the other part being so much glass on a ship, it really changes from, the morning through to the evening. Each venue really, you don't believe you're in the same space sometimes. It's so transformative.
What's the passenger complement on the Edge series, Allan?
There are 2,800 double occupancy, but we could hold well over 3,400. But because the amount of balconies we have and public space, the venues, we kept it to 2,800.
Well, that's a really good size. And in this day and age, 2,800 is like a mid-sized ship.
Yeah, I know.
And really going back to what I've experienced on the Solstice class and the Millennium class, and then even back again to the Century class, is that you can always find a spot on those ships that is just for you. And if you want to be, not around a lot of people, you can do that. I would assume that's probably the same as with the Edge, right?
Exactly, yeah. Spaces I think about that are transformative, and finding those little sort of intimate spaces, or Eden, which is the back of the ship. And you often, had guests come up and say, I found this great spot, and it's a secret, so don't tell anybody. And that does happen. I mean, it's for a ship that size, it's pretty awesome the way they built it.
But on that, Allan, like Celebrity also pioneered the retreat, which is kind of like the ships within ships concept. Explain that for our viewers and listeners, if you would.
Traditionally, suites kind of were associated with, square footage.
Right.
And that's as far as it went. So you close your door, you leave, you're a regular guest, and that's where it stops. So we kind of went back to the drawing board with it to not just make it about the square footage, make it about the entire experience. So the moment you arrive to the ship on the embarkation day, there's a separate entrance, VIP luggage onto the ship. So the retreat, once you're on board, yes, it has a beautiful stateroom. You've got better amenities, larger size, the balconies, but you also have dedicated spaces within that just for our suite guests that range from the retreat lounge with our concierge that will book your spa treatment, your shore excursion, your dining, whatever you need. And there's always priority to our suite guests. And then there's Lumine, which is now an award-winning specialty dining just for our suite guests that no one else can use. You can't pay to get in there. It's just for our suite guests. So, offering breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is my personal favorite on the ship. Different access. We have suite seating in the theater. So when you talk about that, ship within a ship feeling, the great thing about our ships, you can still enjoy the rest of the ship. We've seen a lot of people come from the smaller ships, the luxury brands, now sailing with multi-generational families, so with their children and grandchildren. They're still able to have that elevated experience, but also the amenities of a larger ship. So you still have the world-class entertainment and the dining options and the full-size casino and spa. That's where that sort of concept comes from, of creating this elevated experience in addition to the rest of the ship amenities. Yeah. So it's special.
And you mentioned multi-generational. That has to be very helpful for grandma and grandpa that have the affordability to sail luxury. But when it comes to taking in the kids and then maybe the grandkids, it's a better option this way. The grandma and grandpa get the amenities they're looking for, while other guests on the ship, the kids and grandkids, can be in some of the other staterooms, right?
Yeah, definitely a viable option for multi-generational families for sure.
So you've got a brand new ship coming out in the Edge series, the Xcel.
And I know we have probably some Captain's Club members watching.
Yep.
You give feedback and we listen, whether it's our programming, whether, it's the design of the ship. Sometimes little things can make a difference, and we do listen. So you can see the differences between Edge and Apex to Ascent and beyond for sure. The Grand Plaza, we added things, moved things, changed things. So we know that's coming with Xcel. We're just going to continue to build on this perfection. There's new food and beverage offerings, so new restaurants on board the ship, new themes. Yeah. Same for entertainment and obviously the venues. There's some really cool stuff. We've heard hints.
You mentioned a bunch of Captain's Club folks that are watching. I'm sure there's lots. And one of the things as Captain's Club members, we were always looking forward to the next greatest ship launch. It'll be great.
The other good news too is, I don't know if you heard, we also announced the next. So we have Xcel coming out, but then we have another, so the 6th of the Edge series coming out.
Oh, fantastic.
That'll be, I think, end of 27, 28. I don't want to forget to mention, she kind of came out around the same time as Apex, but Flora, Celebrity's Flora, which is our ship that was specifically designed for the Galapagos Islands. She's been out for, I want to say 4 years now. So 100-passenger ship dedicated to the Galapagos Islands on different itineraries, but it's all suites. And that's our truly all-inclusive program, air included or air credits, and all your excursions, all your meals, obviously, your destination enrichment lectures on board the ships. And
that's a different kettle of fish altogether. Flora in the Galapagos, it's basically an all-inclusive type cruise. You've got your excursions, you've got your flights, everything's all wrapped up in one neat package, right?
That's right. The pre and post stay at the JW Marriott in Quito. It's very transformative. When you've done the Caribbean and you've done Alaska and you've done Europe, even if you haven't, and this might be a good time to travel and do something like this, definitely check that bucket list off.
No, for sure. Now, speaking of unusual destinations or exotic destinations, you've just come out with a new program, Grand Voyage. Tell us a little bit about that.
To my knowledge, I don't know if Celebrity Cruises has done anything like this. Our sister brand did it last year with great success. And so it's the Grand Voyage. It heads out in September of 2026. So you have time to plan for it. It's a 110-night itinerary, but it's broken up into 9 different components.
Right.
So if you haven't got 110 nights available to you, which, a lot of people don't, you can definitely join a portion of it. It does everything from 7-night in Alaska, French Polynesia, and in Asia, Australia, New Zealand, you name it. 58 must-see destinations in 15 countries. There's 65 days ashore, to give you an idea. So we're not just out sailing aimlessly. So most of it is ashore. There's 8 overnight stays, and it's on our beautiful Celebrity Solstice. It's all on the website. Because of the complexity of it, it's not available to book online. Talk to your local travel partner about it. They'll give you some good guidance on the best way to do it. You can do back-to-back. You can sort of tie them all together, and there's incentives for that. Or, just a portion of it, fly in, fly out. It will be departing out of Vancouver, though, which is pretty cool.
I would tend to think that's going to be very popular. So if folks are looking to do the 110 nights, the entire section of it, they should probably look at booking that sooner rather than later. Because correct me if I'm wrong with the segments. Could certain segments actually fill up?
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of all these great ports, is there any new ports and itineraries that are out for 25 or maybe 26?
Europe is opening up a little bit more for us. South America is back in 2025, so this year and 26, some new ports there. So and visiting all these new places in the world, cruising to people now has gone, okay, well, it makes sense to me. And regardless of where you are in your family, whether it's a honeymoon, whether it's a family vacation, or the multi-gen, as we spoke about earlier, in saying that, as our fleet continues to grow, that opens up more options for us to sail further, more exotic, more unique destinations, which is great.
Yeah. Now, speaking of unique destinations, we're sailing with you on the Constellation in 2026. And one of the reasons that we actually chose that particular itinerary was the vast amount of great ports in the Mediterranean that we have never been to before. We've been comparing that to, other of your competitors in the area. And I think, bar none, that Celebrity probably does the best job of having lots of choice when it comes to that, particularly in the Mediterranean. The Celebrity Ascent is offering some great unique itineraries as well.
Europe, for Celebrity Cruises is kind of home, we call it. We have several ships there. We even have the Infinity, Celebrity Infinity, sailing year round there now. So if you've done Europe in the summer and you want to try it in the winter, it's a very unique experience. We're getting rave reviews about those trips. So it's all about variety. We're trying to not only keep our Captain's Club members happy, but we have to, obviously, as we grow as a company and a fleet, we have to attract new cruisers. And whether that's first to cruise or first to our brand, helping them understand there is a difference.
For sure. So let me back you up on that just a little bit. You said the Infinity sailing year round in the Mediterranean?
She's there now.
Yeah, right now. Yeah. So we recently did a piece about cruising the Mediterranean in the winter. And I think it's a great idea. Because, for people our age, well, I'm not really going to go swimming and the weather's better. There's probably less crowds. I would have to think it's really popular.
It's been very, very popular for us. So, but just a different option, the same with us opening up South America again. We hadn't been for a few years. I think one of the most popular right now, and I wish we had, Xcel out now, is another ship in Asia. It's very popular this year and looking forward. Yeah.
Now, one thing that you've always been known for is the dining. What's new in the culinary world on board Celebrity?
It's evolving always. One of the big things with our team in Miami when they're sourcing is a big part of it. I think, especially today, locally sourcing, whether we're, fish in Alaska or fresh produce when we're in Italy or, wines, for instance, that's another big part of it. Our Michelin-star chef, we partner with Daniel Boulud, who's pretty well known. If you're not, look him up. It's worth it. He had his first ever restaurant at sea, Le Voyage, on board the Beyond. If I wasn't a foodie before, I can proudly call myself a foodie now because of the education you get when you're on a cruise and going back to that variety, different themed restaurants, whether it's a Petit Chef, which continues to me to still be pretty new because it still has that wow factor. It's where the projection onto your plate and there's a whole story that kind of is a thread through the meal and all the courses. I think one of the coolest things Celebrity Cruises does, whether it's in the main dining room, whether it's one of the specialty restaurants, or even in the Ocean View dining area, which is kind of our breakfast, lunch, dinner, casual dining, is that it's themed to where we're sailing. Maybe you went ashore and had a chance to dine in a local restaurant and in one of the many overnights that we offer, or you didn't, and you want to try something that is local. A lot of the food there is locally sourced, and they'll have it themed depending on the region of the world we're sailing. So there are some very cool new culinary offerings coming on Xcel, and if like we've done in the past, we'll see it on some of the other ships as well.
We're definitely looking forward to that. Now, during some of the interviews that I've done on the various cruises on Beyond, on Apex, one thing that has always come to the top of mind with the travel advisors that I've interviewed is that the entertainment and the theater is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's it's close to my heart because that's where I started in the industry was the entertainment. When you walk into that theater, there's not a bad seat, first of all. You could sit literally anywhere. The sound, the visual, the Edge series theaters where it's enveloped in these LED screens, I don't even think we've tapped into half of what the capabilities are at this point. They do such an amazing job. It's not like you're sitting in a movie theater. It doesn't take away from the live performance, the singers, dancers, and musicians, and aerialists, and acrobats, but but it really enhances it. I mean, it feels like it's wrapped all the way around you, this screen, and it's moving, and there's people popping out, and it's very cool. It's a state-of-the-art theater. You don't find anything like this on land. Vegas would be probably the closest I could think of that has the technology that we have on our ships now.
It's almost like a theater in the round, right?
It is, yeah. That kind of same concept. So, the aerials that can come from the ceiling and just the sort of diversity we can have with any offering you have in that space is unparalleled for sure. And the shows that we have now too, they're, very current, trendy. So it's fun to watch. You feel like you're part of it. And we use that space for, our destination speakers that, again, enhance that experience. It's very immersive again. When you're talking about the upcoming ports of call we're visiting on that itinerary, and you can have visuals like that, it really gets you excited and gives you a great education on what to expect. The club is another great venue that is part of our Edge series, where it's kind of our rec room. They do the live band karaoke, they do game shows. So again, a very transformative space. It's very fun to watch as it is to participate in a lot of these activities. They've done a great job of kind of finding something for everyone at any given time on the ship.
And that's not just on the Edge class series, though. We've been on the Solstice class and the Millennium class, and the shows are great.
Oh, for sure.
Allan, we've been cruising with you for the last 25 years. Over the years, I've noticed that your guest demographic seems to have trended down somewhat. Probably some of that's because of the growing number of younger travelers choosing cruises. How do you think Celebrity Cruises is designing the experience to attract, like, for example, millennials and Gen Z?
I think the short answer for that is just the variety. And again, I think we're attracting younger, possibly younger. It depends, again, to sort of broaden that answer is that it depends on the time of year you're cruising. The length of voyage is also another factor. If you're retired, then you're not, limited to a certain amount of days or weeks. So we're starting to see that for sure on shorter itineraries. We do have those 5-night, 4-night out of Florida that, are a good sort of taste of Celebrity Cruises, which has done well for us as kind of an introductory length. I think that a lot of these younger cruisers cruised with their families before and maybe got away from it for whatever reason, school and life, and now we're kind of remembering those fond memories they had and looking at sort of how the cruise industry has evolved and now become a leader in the travel sector for sure.
Oh, for sure.
The other thing too, kind of want to mention is that we know, and I'm one of them, how points are very important. Loyalty to a certain brand for whatever reason. Maybe it's somebody did something great for you and turned your experience around. Maybe it's because you love the consistency of a great product, or maybe it's the value. So whether it's airlines, hotels, cruises are the same. We value our repeat guests, Captain's Club members, great deals. But to sort of ease some of the new to our brand is that we have an elite certificate, it's called, where we can actually give you elite status, which is kind of a mid-level loyalty status. If you're first to our brand and you're coming from another very similar brand, whether it's a hotel, resort, or cruise line, we'll give you that status. And if you decide, and we know that we'll convince you in your first trip with us that you'll want to stay. You actually retain that status moving forward.
Okay, so let me see if I understood that. I'm a Holland America Mariner member, and I've sailed with them a couple of times, but I'm a member of the Mariners Club. Because of that, if I understood you correctly, because of that, you'll give me elite status on Captain's Club on my next cruise. Is that how?
Correct. Yep.
So does that work with the Royal Caribbean Crown and Anchor as well? Is that
we reciprocate now anyway, so that's changed about a year ago.
Okay.
That we're tied in now, so you can go either way.
Oh, okay.
With Royal Caribbean and Celebrity.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Royal Caribbean, I'm going to put you on the spot here. For folks looking at both of these great brands, why should they choose Celebrity over perhaps Royal Caribbean?
Just different experiences. I mean, they're both great brands, and I worked on board, both brands. Most of my ship time was on Royal Caribbean, and so I can speak firsthand of the level of quality that's put into it, whether it's the hardware and the innovation that they have. I just think it's a different experience. I mean, it's definitely action-packed, more family-oriented on the Royal side. I like you, I'm not going to jump in the pool every single day, or I'm not really going to climb a rock wall or a zip line, so I probably wouldn't use half of the amenities that are available that some people really enjoy. I enjoy the food I enjoy the wines and it just sort of makes you feel different. I think you feel a bit more elevated on a celebrity cruise. And I think the people that choose a celebrity cruise also are very like-minded in that sense. It's a bit more of an immersive experience.
Yeah.
You maybe not be a sun worshiper. Maybe you want to get in and see a little bit more of the history of where you're visiting, and you'll do your homework ahead of time. So the conversations I think I've had on a celebrity cruise, just sitting, pre-dinner at the martini bar or something, are just incredible, people I've got to meet. And that's a big part of cruising to me, I think, is not just the ship you're sailing on, but the people you're sailing with.
No, absolutely.
I think that they both do a great job. I just think it's a personal preference of what you're looking for. If you want that action pack,
and really, at the end of the day, Allan, that comes down to a conversation with your travel advisor. What you want out of your cruise, right?
And it's not like, you're on a celebrity cruise and you're just going from one meal to the next. I mean, there's a ton of, we talked about the entertainment, and it's not just in the evening. There's lots of activities going on, whether, on the rooftop, we know how popular pickleball is. So that's now there, but there's live music throughout the day, which is something, again, having worked on board, people always ask, do you miss it? And one of the big parts I miss is the live music.
Thinking back about our time sailing on Celebrity, in a lot of ways, it's all about the moments. And those moments, for the most part, that I remember are the interactions with the wonderful crew on board that really made you feel special. And I've always been a fan of saying, the thing about celebrity cruises, well, I talked in the prior years about modern luxury and, celebrity cruises beyond expectations. But at the end of the day, they make you feel like a celebrity.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
And I've always had a soft spot for Celebrity, and always will as a result of that.
They call the ships kind of the hardware and the crew the software. And, I think that's where we win, hands down, is sort of the level of attention. The service you get, it's not intrusive. Yeah. But it's almost like they anticipate your needs without you even knowing it. So I thought that was just very cool. These little moments that happen that make it that elevated experience and making you feel like a celebrity. But
I could give you a list of stories as long as my arm. Some of the wonderful experiences we had on board with some of the crew members, and it's just fantastic. Well, Allan, this has been great. Is there anything else you might like to add before we sail on out of here?
If you haven't tried celebrity cruises, there's no better time than now. It's an exciting time for our brand. And I think, word of mouth, you actually said yourself, Ken, of being a loyal cruiser to Celebrity. It is different, and not every vacation is the same.
No.
And we'd love to prove that to you. And just lastly, I mean, our partners, our travel partners in Canada, we couldn't do it without them. And we as a team in Canada and, well, across the globe, work very, very closely with our travel partners to make sure they have the tools and the knowledge that they need to better service you, our mutual guests.
Perfect. So if folks wanted to reach out to a travel advisor or Celebrity Cruises, how would they do that, Allan?
So our website, celebritycruises.com, has all great information. Reaching out to your local travel advisor is probably the best way.
Well, Allan, this has been absolutely great. But as always, one of the perks of doing this show is I get to live vicariously through the travels of all the people that I get to interview. So I have to know where you're off to next.
My next trip, that's a great question, Ken. Well, I do quite a bit of travel within Canada, which I love. Mm-hmm. I love to get back out to Vancouver, and I've been to the Maritime several times. We do our ship tours out of there. But my next trip is going to be to Spain, going to Malaga, work trip.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
interesting. Yeah, it's one of the perks that I get. We have conferences in different areas of the world, and we get to go out and learn new things and engage. And yeah, that's my next trip.
Fantastic. Well, with that, Allan, I'm just going to wish you safe and happy travels on all your future cruises and destinations. May the wind always be at your back. And perhaps someday we'll meet each other on the Lido deck of a Celebrity cruise ship.
Definitely. Thanks very much, Ken. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Allan Brooks of Celebrity Cruises. If you'd like more information about a celebrity cruise, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com. Visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, to find a travel advisor near you, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps other folks just like you to find our content. So until next time, happy travels.